She just beat a 4-time Grand Slam champion, an Olympic gold medalist, and a top 10 seed in the same week, and now the world's number 3 player is trying to stop her from making history. On August 2, 2026, at the William H.G. Fitzgerald Tennis Center in Washington, D.C., 21-year-old Alex Eala from the Philippines walked into a WTA 500 final nobody outside her home country saw coming. Across the net stood Jessica Pegula, the tournament's top seed, chasing her 12th career title on the exact court where she first won back in 2019. Here is what got her there. In the very first round, Eala faced Qin Wenjing, the reigning Olympic gold medalist. She dropped the opening set 4-6, looked finished, then ripped off 2 straight sets, 6-4 and 6-1, to send an Olympic champion packing. Next came Leylah Fernandez, the tournament's 7th seed and a former Washington finalist herself. Eala took the first set 6-2 and then survived a second set battle, closing it out 7-6 in a tiebreak. 2 rounds down, 2 ranked scalps collected, and she was just getting started. The quarterfinal brought Alina Svitolina, the 2nd seed and a former world top 10 mainstay. Eala dismantled her in straight sets, 6-3, 6-4, with a level of composure that made tennis fans on both sides of the Pacific sit up and pay attention. Then came the moment that turned Eala into a global story overnight. In the semi-final, she faced Naomi Osaka, a 4-time Grand Slam champion and former world number 1. This was not supposed to be close. Eala won it 6-4, 6-2, booking her very first WTA 500 final and her first ever final on a hard court. By the time she walked off that court, she had beaten 6 top 10 opponents this season alone, a number most players never hit in an entire career. Waiting for her in the final was Pegula, who had her own gauntlet to survive. She dropped a set to Magdalena Frech, clawed back to win 3-6, 6-3, 6-0, then handled Anna Kalinskaya and Diana Schneider in straight sets, including a semi-final comeback where she trailed 5-2 before reeling off 5 straight games. This was the second career meeting between the two. Their first, at the 2025 Miami Open semifinals, went to Pegula in a grinding 3-set battle, 7-6, 5-7, 6-3, a match that first put Eala on the tennis world's radar. Sunday's final was chaos before it even started. Originally scheduled for noon, the match was delayed repeatedly by rain moving through Washington. When play finally began, Pegula came out the sharper of the two, breaking serve twice and closing out the first set 6-4. Eala started finding her footing in the second set, pushing back and forth on serve, when the skies opened up again. Lightning near Rock Creek Park forced players and fans off the grounds entirely, with officials pushing the restart back multiple times, first to 4:30 p.m., then 5 p.m., then 6 p.m. Eastern. When the match was finally halted for the day, Pegula led 6-4, 1-2, with the second set still on serve and the outcome completely unresolved. Think about the stakes sitting on this one match. For Pegula, a win means her 3rd title of the season, joining Dubai and Charleston, and her 12th career WTA singles trophy. For Eala, a win would make her the first Filipina ever to capture a WTA singles title, an achievement that would send shockwaves through a nation of over 100 million people who have never seen one of their own reach this level. The champion walks away with $252,000. Even the runner-up takes home $155,000. And 500 ranking points are on the table for the winner, points that could rocket Eala into the WTA top 20 for the very first time in her career. Whatever happens when play resumes, this tournament has already rewritten what people thought was possible for Philippine tennis. Eala arrived in Washington as a name casual fans barely recognized. She leaves it, win or lose, as a player who beat an Olympic champion, a former Wimbledon finalist, a top 10 seed, and a 4-time Grand Slam winner in the same week. That alone is history. Whether she adds a WTA trophy and a place among the tour's elite top 20 to that resume is still being decided, live, right now, on a rain-soaked court in Washington, D.C.